Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Movie Knights Roundtable Live. It is I, Dalton Burdett, with the amazing Nick Iricchio. Nick, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Were you going to pause and almost accidentally say my name? Because that's what it sounded like.
No, so I thought about, without telling you, going back to the old intro and just seeing if off the cuff if you could react and have muscle memory and remember it, but I decided against it at the last minute.
I have no idea. You'll have to pull that soon. It's been a minute.
I will. I'll be honest. That was my favorite intro. I missed that intro. So
it verbatim right now. I could not. If you started it, I bet I could get into it.
Probably. We'll
a later episode.
Yeah, we'll save it. We'll save it for another time. But guys, welcome back. We have a fun show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about some trailers that came out both yesterday and today. We're going to do 3 trailers total, which will lead us right into our discussion of what Edgar Wright's best film is. That's going to be a fun topic for debate there. And also, the box office, of course. If you're joining us live, if you're watching live, please participate in the live chat. If you comment something, I'll pull your comment up on the screen like you can see here, and we'll make you part of the conversation. If you feel so inclined to do a super chat, don't feel like you have to. But if you feel inclined, we'll obviously prioritize those questions first. We'll have sections in the show where we take a minute to address live questions and go through it and have fun. We like to have a community here. So thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be fun. Nick, let's dive into the trailers that we're going to talk about. And the first one is for The Cat in the Hat. Now, months ago, you and I reported on the fact that Bill Hader was going to be voicing the new Cat in the Hat. And it was kind of a thrown for a bit of a loop. I believe it's the same animation studio that was doing the Lorax and the other Dr. Seuss adaptations there. And we were just kind of all right, this will be interesting. Let's kind of see where this goes. Well, they released a trailer today. And, it's fine. Now, I thought the trailer was fine. Obviously, it will never hit peak pop culture as the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat did. That film is... here's what's crazy. Our generation, can look at it with the memes and everything and, have fun with that movie. I remember... I was young, but I remember when it came out, just the fucking vitriol that movie received from parents and everything. It was just such a weird time to go through. I will say the production design holds up.
It's so iconic, though.
The production design.
There's no topping Mike Myers. I mean, come on.
Then the production design holds up. I'll say it. But I saw this trailer. It kind of just looked meh to me. I'll probably end up seeing the movie, of course, just because of who I am as a person. But did you get a chance to see the trailer?
I did. I kind of dug the animation style. I won't lie. I thought it was fun and interesting. I think Bill Hader's a good choice if you're not going to get Mike Myers back. Matt Berry, I saw, is listed in the cast, though I didn't hear his voice.
No, I would have remembered it.
There was another voice I was trying to pinpoint, and I could not get it. I think it was toward the end of the movie. But anyway, it wasn't listed on IMDb. But I like the animation style. There were a couple gags in there that kind of made me laugh a little bit. There's part where he's kind of peering over a wall, yes, and then he walks away and his hands still stay.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he meets the kids and just gets pepper sprayed for 10 seconds, I thought that bit, the trailer got me to audibly laugh a few times, which kind of made me excited, although it's kind of in that bucket of is this going to be a dumb one? Do we even need this? I want to support Bill Hader, so I'll be there.
I think the only gag that actually got me was the one with the things at the end. How it goes thing 1 and then thing 3, and you're like, oh, here comes the gag with thing 2, but then it turns around and there's 13 of them. that was really funny. That was good.
Yeah.
But, I'll stay cautiously optimistic about it, but, didn't blow me away, but, it was also just the first teaser trailer, so we'll see how it goes from there. Before we move on to the next trailer, I want to point out that Connor Bernard in the live chat is saying that you have great lighting, so there you go.
It's my pondering orb.
Yes, of course. Let's move on to the next trailer, Nick, and the next one came out yesterday. By the way, these next 2 trailers we're going to talk about are bangers. Project Hail Mary. Ooh, that looks good. That was a phenomenal trailer. Directed by Lord & Miller, and they haven't directed anything in quite some time. If I'm not mistaken, they were fired from Solo in 2018, but I don't think they directed, a film after that. I think they went straight into producing the Spider-Verse films. And that's pretty crazy. Because I think, does that mean that the last film that they directed was 22 Jump Street? Is that right? I'd have to double look in that. But
the Lord.
Yes. As you're looking that up, I'll talk about the trailer a little bit. The trailer looks amazing. It's based on the book from Andy Weir, who also wrote the Martian book. By the way, I forgot, because we reported on this a long time ago, like back when the movie was being first announced. I totally forgot that Drew Goddard wrote the fucking screenplay, and then I saw it in the credits of the trailer, and I was like, oh my god. Yes.
Honestly, that's what got me excited.
Yes.
That's what got me a little hyped there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a different Chris Miller.
I think Drew Goddard also wrote the Martian adaptation. He must like Andy Weir a lot. But anyway, the trailer is fantastic. It has a good mix of that Lord and Miller humor, but with serious stakes and drama. Ryan Gosling looks like he's going to give the performance of a lifetime. I'm wondering if this is going to be like an awards contender for him, because it does come out next year, but I think it's at the beginning of the year. So that's not really usually an awards play. I wonder if they move the release date up or if they do whatever, because, Matt Damon, I think, got nominated for an Oscar for The Martian, Andy Weir adaptation. So maybe it can lead to Ryan Gosling doing that as well.
That was what surprised me most, was that March 2026 release date at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, we are out. They have a marketing budget for this movie. If they're dropping a full trailer this far in advance, like, they want this playing in front of all the summer blockbusters. I hope it just doesn't become I hope that they keep a strong marketing push and release trailers fairly intermittently. Not that I want a lot spoiled, but I don't want it to turn into like a Argyle, a Megan 2.0, where it's just the one trailer and it kind of turns you against the movie in a way, with how frequently we go to the movies, where I'm like, I can't do this. I don't have the strength anymore for Project Hail Mary. But I thought the trailer, I thought it looked incredible. I love a good sci-fi movie. I love Ryan Gosling. I love Lord and Miller. It looks like it's kind of taken a bunch of different ways. So I think it's going to be very exciting to kind of see. I don't really know anything about the book. The fact that there was an alien in the trailer, I was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting this movie to be, which just made me all the more excited. And to answer your question from before about Lord and Miller, they directed, Christopher Miller directed a ton of episodes of that show they did, The After Party, which I think Phil Lord also directed them in a way, and the last thing Phil Lord directed was a couple episodes of Last Man on Earth. So really, you are looking at 22 Jump Street being the last thing that they did.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I continuously forget that they didn't make Spider-Verse.
Yeah, they just produced them. Yeah.
Yeah. In my mind, those are just the directors of those movies, and I have to constantly keep reminding myself that they're not.
They're definitely heavy creative producers on them, but
yeah.
Hannah in the live chat brings up a great point. I'm going to pull it up here. She says they're marketing so early to give people time to read the book first. That's an interesting idea. It's a kind of, synergy and getting book sales and movie hype to get it raised up to get people time. I could see that maybe. That could be a possibility. I still think that it's maybe they move the release date back. I don't know, but that would be an interesting thing. But the thing that
if they push it back, then this trailer is just out to die for a long time.
The only pushback I would put on that is I work with somebody who's a huge fan of the book. And they said that the book has a huge plot twist in it. And if they want people to read the book and get the twist ruined, that would be a bit weird to me, unless they do the opposite twist in the movie, so it's like a double gotcha. But I don't know. It is an interesting point, though. That could be a strategy that they have there for sure.
I don't know how to read, so I don't know.
And that's fair. But yeah, no,
I would definitely, if we have until March, there's a high chance I try to fit this in and read it just out of curiosity.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a big win. That's a big asking window.
Yeah, for sure. But let's go ahead and move on to the next trailer, which of course dives us right into our main topic here. The Running Man, dude. The Running Man released a trailer today, the next film from Edgar Wright. It is a remake of the 80s film based on the book by Stephen King. So fun story with the original Running Man. I personally have never seen it, but my mamaw, who is the person who really got me to love movies, was a huge fan of it. and she would always talk about, like, oh, you have to watch the two movies she would always bring up because you have to watch The Running Man and Logan's Run. She wanted me to watch both of those. And I just never got around to
running.
Yeah. I never got around to watching them. And it's kind of hard to go visit now because it just feels like oh man, like I wanted to watch this so I could talk about it with you, and like I can't. So it's like a weird thing of like I'll probably just fucking get over it and eventually watch it before I go see the new one. But I was very familiar with the premise, and because I'd done some research on it. But dude, this trailer is awesome.
Rules.
I'm just excited to get a new Edgar Wright film because I love him as a filmmaker. But also just seeing his distinct style in the trailer, the set design, the visual effects all look insane. Glenn Powell just being the only movie star left alive, doing everything he can in this film. You can see an array of emotions in his performance in the trailer. Dude, Coleman fucking Domingo in this trailer. If I knew nothing about this movie and I just saw that one clip or two clips from Coleman Domingo in the trailer, I'd be like, oh, I'm fucking there opening day. Like, this has got me locked in.
I don't even need clips. He could have just showed me a still image of Coleman Domingo, and I would have been there. That man is a terrific actor.
Yes, he is. And you can tell he's having the time of his life on this movie. It was cool to see Michael Cera as well, re-teaming with Edgar Wright since Scott Pilgrim.
I just like how tonally different this is from Scott Pilgrim. Like, when you think of like an actor and director working together kind of pretty consistently, right? Your Scorsese, De Niro's, and then DiCaprio, right? You're kind of getting a very similar stylistic type of movie. So like then seeing Michael Cera pop up in Running Man of all things, I was very excited about that. I honestly didn't know he was in it until I watched the trailer, and that was just, I was like, oh hell yeah, they gave him a great gag. It looks like he's going to be doing some action, which is going to be interesting to see. We have seen him fight already in the Barbie movie, where he was Alan. He had a great fight scene in that, and he did a little bit of action in Phoenician Scheme.
Yep. Oh my god, Phoenician Scheme is so good.
But no, I thought the trailer worked for me on every level. It got me excited for the movie. Love to see Glenn Powell. It's got all the makings of a hit blockbuster. So I'm very excited to watch it. For
sure. And an Easter egg I noticed in the trailer is printed on the currency. And I don't know if that means he's like the president or like the leader of this world, but printed on the currency is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's the star of the original film. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. It was like a fun little Easter egg for the movie, because Edgar Wright's a huge cinephile, so he probably already loves the original movie, and so just like, but it was also one of those movies where like nobody was asking for a remake, and that's why it needed to be remade. Like that's kind of the perfect storm of that. And when you get a filmmaker like Edgar Wright, who's so distinct and so unique in his approach and what he does, like, match made in heaven, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the movie.
No, I am there opening day. I listen, Edgar Wright's one of my favorite directors, so the chance to see him in something, making a big budget blockbuster again, I think will be great to see. And just teaming with probably one of the best actors, movie stars, like you said. I don't know about best actor, but just being able to work with a movie star on that level, that caliber. I mean, this is going to propel all eyes are going to be on this movie because people are going to go want to see Glenn Powell, and I think that's exciting.
Listen, if you want any sort of look into Glenn Powell as an actor, just watch Hitman and how fucking unbelievable he is in that movie. He's so good in Hitman. He's great.
That he is. That's a great movie too. I really enjoyed it.
It's so good. It you know what? I still contend that if that movie never went to Netflix and it was released theatrically, it would have performed better on the awards circuit. I personally think so.
You know what I think of is great about Glenn Powell is he is a character actor trapped in a movie star body.
Yep.
And he still intends to do it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like I'm there, and I think it's just a winning formula.
Oh, for sure. By the way, just to let viewers know, it is storming hard outside. I can hear it. And if the stream loses because we lose power, that's why. So just a brief heads up for that. But, guys, let's go ahead and use the transition of The Running Man, since it's directed by Edgar Wright, to go into the kind of little topic I wanted to bring up today for the show. And that is, what is Edgar Wright's best movie? It's a very complicated question, very hard question. When like a while ago, Nick, you and I were kind of chatting. We were hanging out with Kyler and Harry and a bunch of people. And we were just kind of trying to rank Edgar Wright's movies. And when I tell you, every single movie that I put at the bottom of the list felt wrong. I was like, no, this doesn't belong at the bottom of any list. Like, this movie does not belong there.
I mean, when you look at it though, he really doesn't have a huge like filmography. It's just that every single one is so impactful.
Yes, precisely. And what's funny online is, like, I see some people, because I'm going to bring up some films, like, we're going to briefly talk about all of his films probably, but I see people often bring up a particular film and kind of dismiss it. It's in my top 3 of the one that people often dismiss, and which I'll just say it's Last Night in Soho. It's not my favorite, but I love Last Night in Soho. I thought that movie was fucking awesome. Thought it was awesome. It was my favorite movie of 2021. And yet every single time I bring up Edgar Wright and we talk about it, Last Night in Soho is kind of like, that one was okay. I'm like, fuck you, I loved it. I loved Last Night in Soho.
Here's the thing about Edgar Wright movies is it's very similar to the Mission Impossible franchise in that my favorite Edgar Wright movie is probably just really whatever Edgar Wright movie I'm currently watching.
Fair. Totally fair.
As is my Mission Impossible ranking. It's just whichever I'm currently actively looking at.
Oh, so before we dive into the rank, there's a couple things I want to say. One, there are 2 Edgar Wright films that I have not seen. Therefore, I obviously will not say that they are part of, or they are not like my favorite film because I haven't seen them. I have not seen A Fistful of Fingers, which is like his original narrative debut over in the UK. Apparently, it's really hard to find. I tried looking it up. I couldn't find it. And and this pains me, and Nick is aware of this, I still have not seen The World's End, the last film in the Cornetto trilogy. I know. I own the 4K even. I still just haven't had a chance to watch it. One day, you and I will just binge the trilogy together for fun, and we will finally get to me watching The World's End for the first time. But I have not seen those 2 films. Nick, have you seen all his films?
I have not seen Fistful of Fingers.
Okay, but you've seen the others.
I've seen, and I haven't seen that. I think he did a documentary.
He did do a Sparks Brothers documentary. Yep, I haven't seen that either.
I did not see that. I don't know if we're talking about that.
No, we'll do fiction.
I have seen the Cornetto trilogy and then his other three blockbusters as well.
Okay, all right, Nick. Because I run the show, I'm doing this to you. Nicholas, what's your favorite Edgar Wright film?
Listen, I know like half the cast is canceled, but Baby Driver's such a good movie. It is. It's so good. Baby Driver's the one that I find myself revisiting the most. Just out of like, I watch it and I'm just like, hell yeah, this movie rules, But it's one of those things, like, I think the Cornetto trilogy just has such a great place in my heart, just because, I mean, you're watching his roots, you're watching literally him grow as a director, film over film, which is just something really cool to see. And I kind of do dismiss Last Night in Soho. I think if I were to actually do like a full ranking, if I had to do like an your audio cut out. That's how long or how loud you were moving. Oh no, your mic is just gone now. Yeah. But I think that watching him grow as a director, film over film, just does have like that special place in that. And I love Simon Pegg. I love Nick Frost. I love the 3 of them together. But when I first saw Baby Driver, I just watched it and was just like, you know what? This movie rules. This is great. And I think it has great action. I think it has obviously great music beats. Edgar Wright and James Gunn, when their movies come out, you're always going to get a killer soundtrack. And I think that's very exciting as a moviegoer. And I think that Kevin Spacey does a great job as the villain, even though we're not allowed to like Kevin Spacey anymore for reasons. But you have a great intro or kind of an early career role of Isa Gonzalez, who I think is a great actress. And you have John Hamm running amok as well. And Jamie Foxx. And Jamie Foxx, to me, I don't know if he's... I think he is a good actor. I think he hasn't really had a lot of good roles lately. I think Spider-Man 2 kind of wrecked him. Oh, it's like making static, Dalton.
All right, hold on. I'm still fixing it. Keep going.
Now you're echoey. Live streaming, ladies and gentlemen. But I think that the driving scenes, the action scenes all are really well made. The whole movie is just so laser focused in its execution because of the music beats that they're actually tying into as well, and
I
the
think I got it.
music is yep, you're working. The music is
Hell
like
yeah.
that kind of beating heart throughout the movie, and I think having the movie be timed essentially to the soundtrack of the movie was just, it just works so well, and every time I watch it, I'm just like, "Hell yeah."
So beautiful stalling, and excellent work. And Baby Driver is a fantastic film. Do you want to hear a fucking how ridiculous it was as to what happened when I finally figured it out?
Please.
When I booed, I hit something. I think it was my cord, maybe, that
Yeah.
hit the mute button all the way on my soundboard. So I'm diving into Streamlabs, like, what the fuck is going on? And then I just looked over and I see the mute icon just lit up, and I'm like, God damn it, and just hit that, and that was it. So,
If this was Final Destination, the lightsaber behind you would fall on its side and impale you.
yep, that's what would have happened. Exactly, exactly. Before we get into my pick, we have, I can't see, Maverick 77 Defender. Haha, my eyes are working. Go ahead and throws in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That film is great. And he adds that it's his most influential movie and most critically acclaimed. Listen, Scott Pilgrim is a great film. I still never watched the anime, which I heard was really good. I still haven't watched it.
I enjoyed it. It was kind of like I wouldn't walk away saying it was anything incredible, but I did enjoy watching it. You know, it was great to revisit the world, revisit the characters. I thought it was a very interesting way to kind of go back and revisit without doing like a reboot or kind of an unnecessary sequel. And the idea of the show was very interesting. It kind of took what the movie was and sort of flipped it on its head a bit, which I thought was such an interesting concept to explore. And it's great. I mean, you have a stack cast of people who have only grown and grown and become more and more famous, which is what made getting them all back for an anime show all the more impressive. And it was really Edgar Wright's first big introduction to an American audience. And I think that's really kind of what helped put him on the map as this director of like taking that style that was so popular in Britain with like the Cornetto trilogy with movies that really hadn't necessarily gotten huge in America.
Mm.
And then just like, oh my God, look at this guy. This is just like a shotgun blast to the industry of style. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, for sure. And Maverick 77 Defender adds also, what a cast. We have Captain Marvel, Superman, and Captain America. Yeah, you got Brie Larson, Brandon Routh, and Chris Evans in there, for sure.
And not to forget my dream cast of Superman, Michael Cera.
God damn it, of course.
And
of course.
I think, and it's Kieran Culkin is the friend, right?
Yes, that's right. That is right.
Yeah, no, it's an insane cast.
Yeah, great movie. Something that I want to do before I give my pick, and we can kind of do this as well, is I love all of these films, right? Yeah. Last Night in Soho, again, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I love that movie. People can dismiss it all they want. I love Last Night in Soho. Baby Driver, everything you said about it, I agree. It's thrilling, it's funny, it's action-packed, it's character-driven. Lily James is amazing. Love that movie. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, as we've been saying and as Maverick has been saying in the chat, excellent movie. It's wonderful. Shaun of the Dead, who can forget the thing that really kind of kickstarted everything? Like the way that the humor, the story, the beats, the horror, like everything comes together beautifully in that movie and that's when you really got, I think it was the first time Simon Pegg and Nick Frost were even like together, let alone Edgar Wright and outside of that. Amazing movie. But my favorite Edgar Wright movie is Hot Fuzz. I fucking love Hot Fuzz, and it's something that every time I return to Hot Fuzz, I just find more and more and more that I love about it. It's such a well-made film, and you get a performance from Simon Pegg that's very atypical. And I think that when you kind of look at his career, and this isn't an insult on him, I think he's a great performer and a great writer, but he has put himself into a corner a little bit of giving a similar type of performance over and over. Hot Fuzz is just something that you would not consider Simon Pegg being able to do, but he does it in spades. Like he's like this gritty action cop who just gets thrown into this small town. And not only do you have the Edgar Wright pace on point, the editing on point, the directing on point, the script, but the camaraderie between the cast, the jokes are top tier. There are big, well set up jokes, and then there are like mini jokes before the big jokes that are equally as funny, if not funnier. And then you have just the insane twist and story, the way that film plays out into the most bonkers third act ever. It's a fantastic movie. And like some quick jokes that I'm just remembering off the top of my head. A really famous one is when he goes to the pub and he does that thing where he's like checking the IDs of all the kids, and he goes up to somebody and says, "When's your birthday?" And he goes, "21st of February." And he goes, "What year?" And the kid goes, "Every year."
No, it's that like sharp British humor too that just it's so dialed it, and I think just the way he uses film editing, even within a comedy movie, to make the jokes just hit. Like I think the way he edits the jokes as well, and the timing and the rhythm and the beats, I think it's a masterclass, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy, and like you get the meme too of like Timothy Dalton smiling in front of his picture of him smiling. That bit's great.
You get one of the two cops that like go off screen.
Yes, and it was Martin Freeman and Steve Coogan, I think.
No, that one is Patty Constantine, I think, and it was like two twins.
Gotcha. But I know in the beginning when he's at the office, they have like it's Martin Freeman and Steve Coogan, and they keep like they're giving him shit about how he has to go to the small town.
Yeah.
And that keeps happening. Then you have like cameos, like you have a Peter Jackson cameo, you have a Cate Blanchett cameo, crazy stuff. You also have, I think Bill Nighy's in that film as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. But and just like the crazy violence.
Like I think Bill Nighy's in all of them.
I think he is too. When that thing falls on the guy's head, and just it's the most disgusting violence you've ever seen. It's wonderful. I just love that film again every time I revisit it. And like, oh my god, like the third act, as I was saying, like with Nick Frost, when they first get to the town, and I forget what Simon Pegg's character says, but he says like a cool one-liner, and then Nick Frost is just behind him, and he goes, "Yeah, motherfucker." And then I mean
their whole dynamic just comedically together. I mean, and what I like about them and their dynamic, like even works in movies like Paul, which is a movie I actually really like. It's not an Edgar Wright movie, but just a Nick Frost, Simon Pegg movie, right? I like that they can consistently flip their character types. Like you have some where like Simon Pegg is the like kind of loser friend, Nick Frost is the loser friend. One's the action hero, one's the big action hero, one's the emotional. Like I like that they're constantly like not just falling into like kind of the same. Like think of like other like Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn are always going to be Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson in a movie. I think stuff like that. So I kind of like that they always try to take the characters or the actors and put them in different roles to be able to try something different,
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. I'm trying to think if there's anything left on Hot Fuzz. Oh, how can we not bring up Hot Fuzz and bring up when he shoots the guy into the freezer, and then Nick Frost says, "Did you say cool off?" He goes, "No," and he goes, "Shame," and just keeps loading the shotgun. Oh, never mind. I think one of the best jokes in the movie is when Nick Frost is talking to Simon Pegg about movies, and they go back to Nick Frost's house, and he has 2 DVDs, and he goes, "All right, Point Break or Bad Boys 2?" And he's like, "I don't know, which one do you recommend?" And Nick goes, "No, which fucking one do you want to watch first?"
And they had that conversation with you.
Yep, yes we have.
There have been many a situation like that.
Oh, such a great film. And again, though, we've gone on and on, but all of these films are great. Like, again, Last Night and Soho Defender Till the Day I Die. Baby Driver's amazing. Shaun of the Dead's amazing.
Here's my thing about
Scott Pilgrim.
Fuzz, and this might be the hot take as well, considering it's your favorite. I think it's 3 if I were to rank the Cornetto trilogy.
I can't say anything because I haven't seen World's End, right? I definitely like it more than Shaun of the Dead, and that's not a knock against Shaun of the Dead. I just think that I was so thoroughly blown away by Hot Fuzz, where always like expectation might have something to do with that. Like I had been told my whole life, like, yo, Shaun of the Dead's a fantastic movie. And then I just like went into hot fuzz and was like, holy shit, this movie rules. Like I had no clue about it.
I agree. And again, you're talking about the evolution of the director as he keeps moving through these. I don't know, just something, and maybe it literally just comes down to like the genre. You know, the horror comedy maybe works more for me than the action comedy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a matter of that. The zombies, maybe I just thought it was fun to have like a zombie comedy. You know, I think they're literally all might be like in line next to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if I just had to like my gut feeling, you know.
Maverick brings up a really good point. He says, wasn't Edgar Wright supposed to have directed Ant-Man for the MCU? Yes, he was. I believe he even may have cast Paul Rudd in the role before he left. It was one of those things where he had been working on that movie since like 2006 or something, like since before the MCU was even a thing. And then he went to Comic-Con, I think, in 2011 or 10. Maybe it was 2012, where he actually presented test footage, like the first test footage for Ant-Man. Like he was in that deep, but then the vision he had was not tied to the MCU, and there was a lot of, you know, at Marvel and Disney, the studio kind of wanted him to make it more part of the MCU and make some changes that he was just unwilling to make, and then he had to step away, and Peyton Reed came in and directed the movie instead. But yes, Edgar Wright was supposed to direct Ant-Man, and he dropped out later than people realize. It was it was an interesting thing.
I remember when like news was talking about that. Everyone was like, "Oh, Simon Pegg was probably going to be Ant-Man." It's like, no, he saw the vision with Paul Rudd, and we got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, no, it was, you know, he's great. Guys, now you know what time it is. It's now time for the box office.
The box office.
Nicholas, what were our predictions from last week?
All right, Dalton, you had F1 Registered Trademark, the movie, coming in number 1. Megan 2.0 in number 2. How to Train Your Dragon live action number 3. 28 Years Later number 4. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning number 5. I had F1 Registered Trademark, the movie, in number 1. Megan 2.0 in 2. How to Train Your Dragon in 3. 28 Years Later 4. And I had Elio coming in 5th. So we have the same, save for our number 5 spots.
And man, we were wrong as fuck, dude. This is actually kind of a wild top 5. You ready for this?
Hit it with me. Let's see it. Hit me with it. Not hit it with me. That would hurt.
I was going to say, I can't hurt you, but I'd rather not. Coming in number 1, we were both right on that, was F1, the movie, making $57 million in its opening weekend. Coming in number 2 was How to Train Your Dragon, dropping 46% from week 2 to week 3, making another $19.5 million. Elio came in 3rd, making $10.4 million with an exact 50% drop from week 1 to week 2. Megan 2.0 came in 4th in its opening weekend at $10 million, even under the studio projections in its opening weekend. And coming in 5th was 28 Years Later, dropping 67% in its second week, which is a bit surprising to me. Lilo and Stitch came in 6th, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning came in 7th. That's kind of where we're at on there. Let's see here. I have F1, Dragon, Elio. We forgot Megan. I knew I forgot something. Okay, so with all that being said, let's have some fun here. F1, and its current worldwide total, has $153.2 million. The budget is not listed here. However, I've read from several sources it was around $250 million. So it has a while to get for profitability, but if it keeps on with its good weekends, or weekend drops, I should say, and with the good cinema score it has, it should hopefully fare out well and possibly even squeak theatrical profitability. How to Train Your Dragon has $459 million worldwide. The budget here, again, is not listed. However, it was $150 million, so this film is already printing out profit. It's going to be interesting to see it continue to do so. Elio now has $73 million worldwide on a budget of $150, so it's still not performing great. However, a 50% drop is nothing to sneeze at, especially for how little the film performed in its opening weekend. So listen, if it can keep small drops, it has a chance to kind of do the Elemental surprise where it just stays in there and keeps going and going and going, but it still has a long way to go. Megan 2.0 has $18 million worldwide on a budget of 25. That's Jason Blum, keeping that budget low. But it's still going to be interesting to see if this film's able to squeak profitability, just depending on how the weekend drops are, because the cinema score was not great. It didn't open well. We'll just have to see how this one ends up for everyone. 28 years later is at $104 million worldwide on a budget of 60. It's at 1.7. The 67% drop was really surprising. It's really not great for this film. I'm hoping that it can, kind of stick in there and get, some other things going. I hope that it can get to that profitability point so we can get that third one after Nia DaCosta's second one comes out in January. We shall see. And I also just wanted to pull up Lilo and Stitch. It's at $948 million worldwide. So
shy.
It looks like it's going to come just shy of the billion. I was convinced it was going to get a billion, but it looks like it's coming just shy.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. It looks like it will even surpass a Minecraft movie, likely. So to be the number one movie of the year so far. So we'll see there. But that is kind of where we're at on the box office, and we have some hella chats from Maverick to go through before we do our predictions for next week. Let's see here. Asking which movie will win summer box office. I'd say it's either Superman or Fantastic Four, but hey, Jurassic also does really well. Considering that, you just said Jurassic movies print money. Yes, they do. Predicts Superman will probably be the best movie quality-wise. He says the MCU is down and out at the moment. F4 might struggle. I don't think F4 will struggle as much as Thunderbolts and Captain America have, just because F4 has a theatrical history that goes even prior than them. So we'll have to see. All other F4 movies have flopped. I know the 2015 one did. I don't think the first two flopped, money-wise, if I'm not mistaken. Shocked Lilo and Stitch isn't at $1 billion yet. We are too. I thought it was definitely going to get there. Looks like it'll come just shy. Going back to Marvel, he adds, Phase 4 and 5 of the MCU is a game of cameos. There are more cameos in your movie than the more money you make. It has been kind of a cameo fest, although I think they're finally getting their footing back ever since Feige got his power back after the whole debacle with Disney there. Let's see. More stuff about the cameos. Just talking about the only movies to make more than $900 million were all the Cameo Fest movies. That's true. Let's see. And then he just talks about WandaVision got a huge boost from Endgame. That's true as well. Let's see here. Why and how is it that Xena 2 is at $2 billion? So that's an interesting one because the Chinese box office and how when they report their numbers on original films that are made in China, and this isn't me trying to be like a weird like conspiracy push or anything, they don't hold themselves to the same box office standards that every other country does when they report box office numbers. Only with their original films, though. They do for films that are imported in there, though. So either, hey, maybe it did make $2 billion in China and around the world, and it's done that great, but it might be unlikely. So we'll have to see there. But, Nicholas, predictions for next week.
All right, what do we have coming out? We got Jurassic World.
Jurassic World, and I think that's the only big new release, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it? I feel like I thought there was something else that was going to be like trying to compete with it. Are you pulling that up?
I am pulling it up right now.
I'm trying to think because I think I could have sworn there was one where it was like, oh, maybe that's the Thursday movie. Let's see. I'm gonna go by our closest theater here. Lilo, Karate Kid, Brideheart, F1, Elio, 28 Years Later, Materialist, Final Reckoning, Ballerina, Bloodline, Sinners, Phoenician Scheme, Life of Chuck, Jurassic World, Rebirth.
Yeah, because didn't Brideheart also come out last week?
Yeah, it did. That's not a new release.
Yeah, looks like it's just Jurassic. Everyone steered clear of Jurassic.
Everyone is smart. That's what they are.
Absolutely.
Probably the smartest decision they could have made. You were not on, I believe, the last show. Or no, you were. We did box office. Never mind.
Yep.
Well, either way, you could still go first.
Call me controversial. I'm gonna go Jurassic World is number 1. I'll go F1 number 2.
Okay.
Dragon number 3. I'll go Megan number 4. And I'll do Elio number 5.
Oh man. All right. Well, you stole my list. That's the name of the game, isn't it? So I'm gonna go Jurassic.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm gonna go Jurassic World Rebirth, no colon, number one. I'm gonna go F1 number two. We're gonna go How to Train Your Dragon number three, and then here's where we'll get nutty. We're gonna go Elio number four, and then we're gonna go Megan. I was not impressed with Megan's box office performance,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're going to see there, and that's where we'll leave it.
The reason why I kept Megan in 4 is because I feel like if Jurassic World is sold out, the kids aren't going to go to F1, and they've probably already seen Dragon. So that's where my thinking is.
There.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Jurassic World Rebirth number one. We got to go to an early screening for it. So if you have not already, you can find our review on the channel. It should be one of the top videos on there for recently posted. So make sure to check that out if you have not already.
Yes, and please go follow us over on social media as well. Follow us over on TikTok because for some stupid reason, our TikTok about James Bond just exploded. So that's great for us, but it was very very surprising and came out of nowhere. So, thank you to everyone who has been supporting us over there as well. I think the last thing before we go is I just want to go through some of these Maverick chats before we head out really quick.
Yeah.
Let's see. He talks about marketing costs. He wishes the studio would let us know how much a marketing budget is. They sometimes do it whenever they know they're going to be really successful, but you are right in your follow-up in that they cost as much as the movie. That is true. Sometimes even more if you have a low-budget film. Let's see. Who is the best ever Superman live action or animated? Jeez. I love Christopher Reeve and Henry Cavill, although Superman the Animated Series is pretty excellent. Let's see. Jurassic World Rebirth reminds me of Kong Skull Island, the Tom Hiddleston movie. I'm biased because I've seen it. When you've seen it, it won't, but I could see how you could get the vibe from the trailers. That's kind of interesting. Amy Coleman comes and says, I just got here. What was his best movie? Really quick, we'll just let you know, Nick, your pick was Baby Driver, right?
It was, yep.
And mine was Hot Fuzz. However, we also want to make it clear that we love all of his films that we've seen, and it was a very, very tough decision to pick. And
but not only is Baby Driver my favorite Edgar Wright film, it might just be one of my favorite movies.
That is true.
It might be top 10.
That is true. And I just want to point out, Amy, while you're here, Team Last Night in Soho for life. People dismiss that movie. I fucking love that movie. And she says, Hot Fuzz. Thank you.
Boy.
Thank you. There's vindication. There we go. But like we said, guys.
Bad movie. Yeah.
Like we said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But as always, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We'll be back. Actually, we won't have a Friday show because it's 4th of July. It's a holiday. So we will be out. However, we will be back the following week for Tuesday show. A Tuesday show because we're seeing Superman on Monday. I can't wait.
That is right.
I cannot
we're allowed
wait.
to say we're seeing it, yeah.
I hope so. If they take it away from me, I will be very sad.
I mean, we can say that we're going to a screening.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, we'll have a review for that very soon. We're very excited on that.
Yep. Very, very excited about that. And Amy says, "Well, this is worth clicking on." Well, thank you. Hopefully you can go back once it to the rest of the stream and check it out. Although I have a hilarious audio issue about halfway through the show, so that'll be fun for you to go back and visit. But like we said, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.